Hi again. Today is the third day of 200 days of me speaking to improve my speaking skills, to especially for my interview. My next interview should better be the one I just don't apply for jobs. When I apply for jobs, I make sure it's exactly where I see myself. It's something I can do, or it's something that I love to do. So it's not just about being desperate or for anything. I make sure I apply intentionally. So today is Monday, third day. Today is 15th of June, and the time is 1 p.m., 1:33 p.m. Today, I just want to talk about another question that I got from my last interview. And it was yesterday I was talking about how many reasons could be why stakeholders would appear difficult. And one of them is that they might have competing priorities and limited availability. So that's actually one of the questions I was asked. I was able to answer, but not as much as I should. So today I want to provide a proper question too. In case how do you deal? Okay, the question is, how do you deal with difficult, like a stakeholder that has competing priority and have limited time, and you can just go get hold of them to sit down and ask them questions about anything. And an interviewer asked me how I'm going to deal with that. What I should have said is that, to be honest, in my last role, what I usually do is that I still remain focused about respecting their time, because it's normal for people, for different departments, different head of department to have different priorities. That is kind of different from the project. There might not be something that really concerns them so much. It might not be a project that will directly impact their department or their day-to-day doing. Of course, they're going to benefit from it, but they really can be so much bothered. So, and for that reason, that could make them be busy with some other thing that is a priority and more important to them and to their department. So what I will usually do is that I will stay focused on respecting their time, and I will also and when I get hold of them, I'll make the engagement as impactful and efficient as it should be by making sure that I go straight to the point and I do my homework before. I make sure that I'm certain and I'm sure about what I'm actually going to be discussing and be asking them. Another thing that I do is that I make it easy for them to say just yes or go on, or just a simple validation. So maybe I'll send some focused questions to them, some of the questions pertaining to what I need them for. I will send it to them before we meet, so that they are well prepared. They already know what the discussion is about, and it's just easy for them to say yes or no, or this is what I think. In 15 minutes, we get something documented and something done. Another thing that I do is that in cases where we have some general meetings coming up, I try to squeeze in some few times, maybe like just tell them, see, in the next this meeting about this? Can I get like 10 minutes to discuss about production expectation or downtown metrics? Just a little bit of time during another existing meeting. So, and if responses are still being delayed, I would, if after doing all of those things, the responses are still slow or being delayed, or they're still being difficult, they're not still interested, I will just make sure to document my assumptions and then just tell them to validate, because and tell them the risk of them not responding, or how the project is going to be affected when they continue to delay, if they continue to delay their responses. And so that's how I have been dealing with such people, such head of departments, such when I had such experience, that's exactly how I've been dealing with them. Because the goal is just to do what is right for the business and remain professional as I can be, and and just make it as easy for them as I'll just make sure to be as understanding as I can be, and make it as easy as I can on them too. So another question I was asked during my last interview was, I think it was 3. Let me see. I wrote them down immediately. Let me see. Okay, the question was, in that case that in such a case that the stakeholders still remain difficult, and the question is, and I'm trying to really remember the question. It's okay. The question was, how do you document conversations between two difficult stakeholders? There are these two stakeholders, they're not agreeing. Maybe, for example, in my last role, there was a time that we were looking at creating a production dashboard, but the operation department wanted something else. So that created a lot of conflict and disagreement. So the question was, how do you document conversation with them? It's almost 10 minutes now. I think I'm just gonna answer that tomorrow again. I'm just gonna answer that tomorrow. I have a whole lot of questions that I'm gonna be discussing every day, and I'm hoping that before the 200 days elapse, I've gotten better, and I've gotten exactly what I'm looking for. I'm just hoping I get better. I'm just hoping that this is fruitful. I'm just hoping that I'm hoping that I'm doing the right thing. I'm hoping that I'm doing exactly the right thing for myself. So I'm just going on to do some other thing now. and talk again tomorrow. Layla. Bye, Layla.